Welcome back. Now, do you know how much information your bank holds on you and your family? If you don't, you may be surprised by exactly how much data your transactions reveal.
Do you have any idea of just how much the banks know about you? They hold a huge amount of your information, and they use that information to sell you things. Did you know that with just a few of your bank statements, I can tell almost anything about you? I can tell where you've been, where you shop, what financial products you have, if you've got kids, what ages they are. It holds a huge amount of private data, and it's all right there in your bank statements. You know, a guy like me would need your consent to get that information, but the banks don't need your consent because they already have it. And if they ever give you a call asking to come in for a friendly little chat, just remember, there's probably something in your information that prompted this. So do yourself a favor. If they ever call you, ask them why they called and the real reason, not for some crummy review call, and better yet, get your advice from a qualified independent source and never from an employee of the bank. So don't jump into the unknown. Being prepared is the best way to protect yourself from whatever they're trying to pitch you with, and it could save your financial life. That's my insider tip from the world of finance.
Looking sharp, Carl.
Yeah,
I like it.
You may as well, if you can't be smart, you may as well look it.
Good stuff. Well, sound advice there, though, contained in that message.
It is. And I think that the big thing is a lot of people never realize what your bank is looking into on your behalf in order to sell you products. And it's something that, as an independent financial advisor, that myself and representative bodies have really given out a lot about, because it means that you can effectively be corralled into certain decisions that you otherwise wouldn't make. And I think
what decisions?
For instance, you might have someone who puts a certain amount of money into their current account, and suddenly a phone call comes in. What would you like to do with that? Well, they're not being told what the best savings rate is. They're just saying, these are the savings rates that we have. So you might actually miss out on good opportunities. And in fact, one of the most important employees of any bank anywhere recently is a person named Watson, and Watson is a computer built by IBM. And it can go through all of your transactions and tell you huge amounts of things about that client. In fact, Santander Bank have recently started to send lists to their branches to say, advise these clients on these products, because the more transactions and the more that any system or person looks into, the more they know. And just me as a human, without computing power behind me, can tell a huge amount about a person. Well, imagine what a system designed to preempt decisions can do.
Is it this? You explained in the piece there that it is legal. They don't need your consent because you're already a customer of theirs. But is there a sort of a grey area that that example, money goes into your account, a sizable amount of money, can that really prompt a sort of a call from them to sort of advise you, well, we know you have money and we want to get our hands on it?
Yeah, you're kind of at the crossroads of different things. I mean, on one hand, there's data protection, and that's covered by legislation that was brought out in 1988 and 2003. And the banks, in that respect, have a duty to protect your data, but it doesn't mean that they can't use it for their own benefit. And that's really where we get into service, advice, and suitability, which is a complaint that was raised by the Professional Insurance Brokers Association with the central bank. But the central bank said, our hands are tied on this. They effectively came back and said, yet again, in the world of Irish finance, we are not fit for purpose to stop something from happening which is known to perhaps not be the best outcome for the client. And I think the important thing with regulation is that you've got to realize fools will always be parted from their money. And that's something that has been historically true since time immemorial. But it isn't the job of the regulator to allow every fool to be parted from their money. And in a way, they facilitate this by not stopping it from occurring. And the only person that can stop it is you. So your best defense, as always, is yourself. And that's why knowing about it is really the first step.
But what can you do? They have access to all your accounts. So there's nothing you can do to protect that information.
You can't, but what you can do is if they say, we're calling you, we'd like you to come in for a review, just say, no, I get my reviews from independent financial advisors. Or if they say, we have a product for you, say, well, actually, I'll go and I'll shop the market myself before I decide whether or not I'll buy from you. If they call up, they say, we think you have too much money in your current account, you should put that on deposit. Say, that's a great idea, I'll go and shop around the market. I'm not going to go with whatever the first default solution that you give me is, because deposit rates are coming down and people don't realize you're going to miss out on a lot of interest on deposits by not looking out there and seeing what else there is.
What else could they be ringing up trying to sell you? And once they look through your accounts, what are the other things they're trying to
Well, thankfully Ireland technologically is a little bit behind the rest of the world, and it's one of the few times where being less advanced is to our advantage. But certainly in other countries, you know, the credit card companies, for instance, they look at what transaction you do. That if you were to say buy something in a Gap shop on your Visa card at around 12 in the day, you'll get a text with saying that, you know, there's an Italian restaurant nearby that will do an offer. Because you might want lunch. The hope being that you use your Visa card again, they get a slice of that, and they probably get advertising from the restaurant as well. So the thing is, you've got to understand the difference between your own decision and when you're kind of being nudged or prompted into a decision.
That's sort of a bit sinister now, that they would respond that quickly to one transaction and try to, as you say, corral you somewhere else.
I think so too. I think it's spooky. You know, it kind of creeps me out. It's like having someone who, you know, go through your knicker drawer or something. It's not like a comfortable thing. It's but that's the face of technology meeting with finance, because there is a huge amount of power in that information.
We have one viewer text, or a query from a viewer that was sent in to you. A woman who's separated 7 years, going through a divorce. The ex, it's quite amicable. The husband has lost his job and they're in trouble with the mortgage, and she's trying to buy some time basically till she gets a job so she can sort of keep the arrears at bay. I think she's already two months in arrears,
yeah,
since the end of December, because her husband, her ex-husband, is
out of the
country, out of a job.
The loan is 179,000 and they've paid it 5 years in a row, never missed any payments, but now she's 2 months in arrears and she's wondering what she should do.
Well, and they all live in the same house?
No, they're separated, they're going through a divorce. She lives with the son in the family home.
Okay. Well, I suppose in that instance, the first thing to do is to speak to your lender. Ask to be put into the pre-arrears condition under the Code of Conduct on Mortgage Arrears. Let them know to expect that something is going to be missed, and you'll find that you get treated very differently than if you don't say anything. Now, she probably does still have rights to the family home under the Family Home Protection Act, but it's a question of really, where do you go into the arrears? Do you go into it on the property that the husband is living in? Because now that they're living in two different homes, they actually both have the protection under that code as a primary home. A lot of people don't know that. Like if we were married and split up and I moved into one house, you moved into another, that becomes your primary home. The first one, which was always a family home, is still my family home. So they actually have very strong protections in that area. Now, I can't say when the husband might get work again or what's going to happen in that respect.
And
but
she's
the first
looking for
thing,
work as well.
Yeah, is to declare that both homes are family homes, that one isn't an investment, for instance, or a holiday home, that they both qualify as family homes. Make that statement, put it on record, let the bank know, and get into that process of getting through you know, the standard financial statements and other things that you have to do to get to a resolution sooner rather than later.
Okay, Carl, as ever, thank you so much for that information. And if you have a question for Carl or any of our experts, here's how to get in touch.